Today, bullpen breakout Max Kranick joins the show. One of the Mets radio voices, Keith Raad, stops by, and I get to talk to the Rizzler. Let's get in the cage. So on opening day, in a one-run game against the Astros in Houston, bases loaded, one out, and the Mets turn to this guy, Max Kranick, with Yordan Alvarez, one of the best hitters in the game, up at the plate, and you moonwalked out of that, and you've been dealing ever since. Max, welcome to the show. How you doing, man? This has been an awesome start to the year for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm doing well, just adjusting to the role, role, workload, things like that, getting used to the day-to-day stuff, but no, it's been going well.
So for anyone who doesn't know the backstory, drafted in 21 by the Pirates, you come up as a starter. Tommy John in middle of 22, you missed the rest of that season, you missed all of 23, three levels of the minors last year, converted to a reliever now, DFA twice along the way, and now you've had 7 incredible scoreless innings to start the year in that new role. What's been the hardest adjustment for you now, getting used to this particular set of skills you need?
I think it's just the workload stuff, I feel like I keep talking about, but the day-to-day stuff, like today, going out there throwing light, not working on too many things. Tomorrow I'll be able to step on it a bit more. So I think just the day-to-day workload stuff has been my biggest adjustment.
Can we say the comeback is complete and you're just locked in now moving forward on what you got to do, or do you still feel like you have some corners to turn in your sort of major league comeback story?
I'm not sure. No, it's been good to come back, obviously, and have success. I think the best is still in front of me. Stuff-wise, velocity-wise, I think there's some more in there. But no, just continue to trust my process and do my daily work, and the results will take care of themselves.
Now, what I've been most impressed by is you're coming in these high leverage situations. That opening day one, just yesterday against the Blue Jays, another bases loaded situation, and you get the team out of that. Were you having conversations with Carlos Mendoza, with the staff, about, hey, put me in these spots right out of the gate, or was this frying pan situation, first time in the bigs in 3 years, something you weren't expecting?
No, not something that I was expecting, but obviously, I feel ready for the moment. Just coming to the game and know how to execute, know how to get these guys out, go over your heat maps, scouting reports, things like that, but just not trying to make the moment too big, just going out there and executing and going from there.
Well, it's working so far, and we appreciate, the lights show, getting you used to the game time for when you come up, turning things on, turning things off. Last week against the Marlins, you saw these guys already. You just played them.
Yeah.
You had 3 shutout innings against them. How does playing a team again so soon work to your advantage, or maybe against you, that you have to now counteract that? What's that familiarity do for you as a reliever?
I think it goes both ways, right? They're obviously an aggressive team. The scouting report on myself is I throw a lot of strikes, so I think just continue to execute, and I think the results will follow.
And then the other variable that has changed since you saw them in South Beach last week, this weather.
Yes.
I'm wearing my jacket, you've got the thermals on,
Yeah.
a little different than South Beach. As a pitcher in general and a reliever in particular, how does this kind of weather in the 40s, wet maybe, windy, how does that affect your routine, your approach, just your general feel?
I think it affects obviously hitters and pitchers, but for us, luckily we have that building out there that's inside, so we can kind of stay in there, get loose, and only go outside when we have to. But definitely much different than when we just saw them last week, so it'll be an adjustment for both of us, for all of us.
And then something that any person who grew up a Mets fan, as you did, as the story's been told, and your dad going to opening days at Shea all those years ago, would like to know, David Wright texted you a congrats when you made the roster, which is, I think, a dream for any Mets fan to say they got a text from David Wright.
Yeah.
You've been following up? Now that you got his number, you text him back like, hey, did you see my outing?
No, absolutely not, no. But really nice for him to take time out of his day and congratulate me. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I can imagine, and obviously meeting lots of Mets fans, the performances you've been dishing out. So it's always great to see a guy that grew up rooting for the orange and blue not come back and deliver here on the field as well. We'll let you get back to it, but we do have another guest coming up in a little bit, the Rizzler, who you got to catch his ceremonial first pitch yesterday. Did you know who he was, and what did you think after meeting him? This 8-year-old viral sensation.
Yes, I did know who he was. I remember he was here last year during playoffs. But no, seemed like a nice kid. His family seemed super nice too. I saw a lot of pictures on the internet, things like that. But no, all good stuff. It's nice to meet him.
Well, he was super pumped about the first pitch. I think that was part of the experience, was you being part of that. So you got bigger responsibilities to work on, though. Go get loose. Have a great series. Thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Max Kranick. We're back with more in the cage. With me now, down from the booth, Keith Raad, one half of the Odyssey Mets radio team. How are you, man?
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. So, new series, and things are going well for the Mets as of right now. 4-game winning streak, 6-3, and wanted to get your thoughts on things so far, because you're with this, you see this team every day, you're traveling with it, you see what's going on. Giving you carte blanche, what are your early takeaways from the 2025 Mets season so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're checking a lot of boxes pretty early here. This lineup from start to finish, you can see the potential of it. You know they're going to go on that run for a 2-week stretch where they go, 10-2, just rip off insane wins because they're hitting. Then the starting pitching, it's been good so far. 2 earned runs or less for everybody so far. And then right now the bullpen is holding the team up right now as far as keeping this record at 6-3 alive. And they have the best team ERA in baseball. So you're asking me, how do the Mets look right now, Mike? They look pretty good.
So early in the year, it's anyone's kind of natural inclination, I think mine at least, to compare the end of last year to the beginning of this year, because that's all we know, right? The cement's not settled yet on this team, and who knows what these stats will look like in a week or 2 weeks. What do you see? I'm going to go middle school English essay style. Compare and contrast the team at the end of last year compared to what you're seeing so far this year. What's the same? What's different? What are you noticing as we get out of the gate here?
Okay, Venn diagram. I like it from elementary school. Yeah, I mean, last year the expectations were so low, right? We didn't really know what was going to happen with the team. We thought, okay, maybe they'll fight for a playoff spot if we're lucky, and they're off to a better start this year than they were the 0-5 to OMG Mets. Shout out Gary Cohen on that line. But I think the sustained expectations are here now. I mean, that the feeling that everybody has coming into the ballpark, that we have coming into the booth, is this team is supposed to win just like they did toward the end of last year. I mean, even when they turned it around into June, when the culture really took over, these guys started to establish what they wanted to do. They were the best team in baseball for the second half of the year last year, and what they did in the playoffs, you can feel that excitement now, and so that's the hard part for them, is to keep that winning, that feeling sustained, because when there's a target on your back, it's a little bit different. So far, so good for these guys.
Also, when it's an entire season, it's not just a September push. You have to now maintain this through the entirety of the summer. One big difference from last year to this year is the guy wearing 22 in right field who signed a pretty decent-sized contract in the offseason, Juan Soto. What are your grades on the early return on investment for Juan Soto so far?
It's amazing. I mean, that just the start that he had in Houston, he's been on in every single game so far, whether he's walking, doubling, hitting a home run. And I'm such a sucker for hitters. I love studying hitters. And he is the perfect prototype for a guy who studies hitting himself. And so Brandon Nimmo said it well the other day. When we're watching Juan Soto hit, we're almost watching Barry Bonds hit because of the way the opposition is pitching to him. He's barely going to get a pitch to hit, right? So he's getting pitched tougher than anybody is in baseball. And the pitches that he takes, the plan that he has from one pitch to the next. I mean, I remember the home run that he hit in Houston, his first one with the Mets. A pitch in the first at-bat got him. He came right back in the second bat and said, I'm going to figure it out. And that's what I love most about Juan Soto so far. And that's just 9 games in.
It's that old Willie Mays, maybe do bad on purpose earlier, rope-a-dope a pitcher in. That's how good Juan Soto can be. And the home runs are coming. More of them are on the way, I'm sure. Just a matter of them coming. The great thing is, even when he's not going yard, he is working pitchers, he is working counts, he's getting on base. Incredible to see that presence in the lineup as well. All right, you got to go get ready soon, but before I let you go, and we're hoping to get you back throughout the year. You've been a great guest so far, so I'm hoping to keep this a recurring segment. Checking in on you and Howie, because you work alongside a Mets Hall of Famer, and Howie's a personality we all know and love. Up in the booth, we hear you all the time on the radio, but give us some behind the scenes. What's a funny Howie story, something you guys have done so far in the early season? Give us some tea, give us some good scoop.
So Howie's always trying to be cutting edge, right? He's trying to be young, and he is. But we talk about, I saw a great sign the other day, 7 Juan 8, right, for Juan Soto. Yep. And Howie came back and he said, hey, we're back and he gave the zip code for Queens on the air. And I go, Howie, nice try, but we don't do that. It's the 718. It's not the 11, whatever the zip code is for Queens. But that's Howie Rose in a nutshell. Always trying to be cutting edge. The man is a legend, but we got to say, listen, Howie, this is how you do it sometimes.
Oh, it's good. It's nice to have that fire and ice, that salt and pepper. It's always a balance, right? So Keith and Howie, that's the way it goes. All right, you look well prepared. You got the sweater. You got everything good. So go up and stay warm and have a good call this series.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks so much.
Check out Keith Raad, Howie Rose, Mets Odyssey. They got the full radio booth coverage going on all season long. Here with the Rizzler, looking good. I didn't even ask. The man already knows how to get everybody excited on camera. Dude, you're probably the most famous Mets fan in the world under the age of 20. Yeah. He knows. Self-aware. I like it. But you're what, 8 years old, right? So you got to live a dream yesterday that 28-year-olds, 38, 48, 50, 60-year-olds, people wait their whole life, never get to do it. You threw out the first pitch at Citi Field before a Mets game. How was that, dude?
It was cool.
Well, I mean, what were the emotions? What were you feeling? Whole stadium of people were cheering for you.
It wasn't like it bounced into
So you were throwing a sinker, right? Yeah, you wanted to go off speed because everyone throws a fastball. Right, yeah, he saved the ball and hasn't washed it since yesterday because you want to make sure that it looks good and authentic. Out of the experience, how many booms would you give it on the boom meter?
7.
7, right? You usually go to 5 is the max, right? But that gets a 7. I love it. Did you practice?
Yes.
With who?
I practiced with my dad and my grandpa.
All right, nice. And they gave you some good pointers, some good tips? All right, it was fun. Were you nervous? How were you feeling?
I wasn't that nervous, but it was very fun.
Nice. And a memory you're going to have now forever. So I want to know more about you as a Mets fan. How'd you become a Mets fan? You don't know? What, did dad influenced you or what? So it was a family thing? I'm the same way. My dad was a Mets fan when he was your age, made me a Mets fan. But the difference is when I was your age, the Mets had some rough years. You're here at a really good time. So how pumped are you for this season? Yeah, it's going to be a good one, I think, right? We're going to get to some predictions later, but I want to know more about you. I'm sure you got some favorite players, right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Mets player?
Lindor.
Wow. Why Francisco Lindor?
Because he has the best home runs.
I know, they're pretty dramatic, right? Yeah, and that sweet swing. We like Francisco Lindor around here, too. Maybe Francisco Lindor is the answer to my next question, because I think you have some good options here. You're famous for the Riz face, which we saw at the beginning here when we talked. Which Met, hit me with it again, can't get enough. Which Met would have the best Riz face, you think?
Pete Alonso.
Ooh, Pete Alonso. Why him?
Because he has a good jawline.
Good, and you need a good jawline for a good Riz face, right? I thought maybe Francisco Lindor with a smile, Juan Soto, but Pete Alonso's a good choice. A lot of good choices, right? All right, love it. All right, so now we're gonna do something called Rizzle Me This. All right, you like that? That's a good name, right? Yeah, I was working on that. We're gonna ask you some questions about the Mets this season, and you tell me what you think they're gonna do. All right? Let's lock in. How many games will the Mets win this year?
5.
This whole year? They've already won more than 5.
Oh, this whole year?
The whole year. So the record, the most games the Mets have...
I thought you said this month.
No, not this month. Not this month. This year. So the most games the Mets have ever won in a year is 101. Yeah. What are you thinking? 90, 95, 100, 105? What do you think?
105.
105! You heard it here first. Record-breaking season for the Mets coming up from the Rizzler. All right, we'll see how that goes. Next question. Pete Alonso, how many home runs is he going to hit this year?
50.
Going back for 50. I love it. 53 was his Mets record. We want to see another 50 bomb this season. Last question. Will Francisco Lindor win a Gold Glove this year?
Yes.
Absolutely. He should have won one last year, right? Thank you.
He should have won every.
My man, I knew I liked you for a reason. Jersey guys, we're on the same page. All right. Last question for you. Will the Mets make it to the World Series this year?
Yes.
He's absolutely right. For sure, he says. If the Mets win the World Series, how many booms would that be on the boom meter?
65.
65! All and big ones, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Well, I'm just a journalist asking the hard questions, but you heard the truth here. Mets are maybe winning the World Series, going big booms, and Pete Alonso, massive year, Mets massive year, from the mouths of babes. You heard it here first. All right, man, thank you so much, and congratulations on your first pitch. Let's hit him with a Riz face and a Let's Go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Love it. All right, hope you're ready for this series. If you are coming in person, also gloves, hand warmers, whatever, I recommend you bring them. Game times for this series, 7:10 tonight, 7:10 tomorrow, and then 1:10 the day game on Wednesday. All right, thanks to all of our guests, Max Kranick, Keith Raad, the Rizzler, love him. Hope to see him back at Citi Field again soon. Until then, make sure to follow the Mets on all your favorite social media channels. And for everybody involved, my name is Mike Janela. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time in the cage.